And trend 3 is fulfillment emerges as a competitive differentiator. Joe Foley, why are consumers gravitating to brands offering fast, free, and sustainable shipping?
Because they're impatient. As simple as that. That, and also the demand that's there for sort of like immediacy. You can't just nip to the shop and get what you need. So if you can get it tomorrow at the earliest, great. At a maximum 2 days. Anything longer than that, especially if you have to pay for it, then they're just not going to bother. So you need to be competitive when it comes to your shipping. You're
going to lose out, aren't you? If everything's equal and your shipping is a day longer than the next guy who's one down on the Google search results page, that guy is going to get your custom.
Yeah, you're done for. Like it's as simple as that. Like you need to be as competitive on delivery as you are on price these days.
Did you think the stat they give in the report was quite low? Now, it says here globally, 64% of consumers want their orders shipped for free, while peak level e-commerce and strict same-day shipping cut-off times have made it difficult to meet rising customer demands. 67% of consumers expect either same, next, or 2-day delivery, and 72% of consumers want sustainable packaging. It was that 67% expecting same, next, or 2-day delivery. Now, it's very rare I buy something and it's outside of that as a delivery window. I don't know about you two, but I'd expect that as a consumer, and I'd say it'd be closer to 90% would.
I'd not be surprised, no. I think maybe if the report's worded strangely. I don't know is it 67% expect same next or 2 days for free, right? Whereas like pretty commonly, 3 to 5 days is free. You get 1 to 2 days as kind of like, £3. And then if you're willing to pay £5 or £6, you can have it next day, guaranteed, right? So like, yeah, maybe that's the way they're looking at it. But yeah, for me, if I go on a website and you can't get next day delivery at all, like, yeah, I'm going to go look for somewhere that does.
Especially if it becomes like we're talking into the £4 or £5 just for delivery. It's like you're not looking at the true price anymore. Especially if it's like, if it's a 50, 60 quid product and suddenly we're adding nearly another 10% on, when you're online shopping, I'm going to feel a bit pissed off. And if you do a lot of online shopping, you definitely will.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day where it's Drake, where it's like that one thing and points at it, smiling at the other. And it was like a product that's £25 with free delivery versus a product that's £20. £5 delivery.
Yeah.
And you're going to go for the £25 with free delivery every time.
Every time?
So you're getting something of value on top of what you're purchasing.
Well, if you're paying for shipping, it feels like you're paying for nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Certainly missed it. I know a guy that used that exact meme to, he had like a director of marketing or a CMO, like someone like dead senior and like, had been in the game a long time, was stuck in his ways and didn't believe that this was like the way people wanted it. And in the end, like you found this meme on Reddit and it had like, 20,000 likes or something, this Drake meme you're talking about. And he used that to be like, look, there's 20,000 people here that would want to do it my way. And that was like what got it over the line for him. But it's just so true.
I like that a lot. Gauge your consumer attitude by using a meme and seeing how many likes you get and then go on your boss with it.
That's going to have to be the thumbnail for the podcast, that meme.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Robo, I'm going to hot potato you with this one, I think. But, this is talking about, again, the majority of consumers in the US, UK, China, Germany, France, Japan say free shipping greatly impacts whether or not they buy from a brand. That's obvious, like duh. But the point is, and the big question for you, is what advice would we give as an agency, Be Found, Be Chosen, on setting your shipping thresholds and still maintaining your profitability?
I think the one we talk about a lot is if you're going to do a free shipping threshold at all, and some cases it's totally worth doing, then stick it slightly above like your current average order value. If currently average person spending 40 quid, if you set that threshold to 50, most of them are going to go looking for another tenner's worth of your stuff, and then you'll ship it for not a lot of money anyway. And yeah, for any number of reasons, it makes your life easier in terms of getting that sale over the line and also, getting them to spend a little bit more money. I even know people that go as far as to say, and I don't think we've ever sat and run the numbers on this to see what we make of it. And even then, I suppose in days of like automate and everything, it's probably not a straightforward thing to do. But I've known people working with larger businesses before where the advice has been like, oh, you know, we need to do whatever for conversion rate. And it's been like, you know, that money we're going to put into PPC so you can put the bids up, leave the bids the same and spend it on making your shipping cheaper instead. Just absorb the cost and use the money that you would have used for higher bids, use it for cheaper shipping, and your conversion rate will go way up, much better use of the same investment. And that's something that we've yet to even try. But I'd be more inclined to do that than bid even harder to get kind of position one and hope that you get more people through the door that will just settle for more expensive or longer shipping.
I like that a lot. Let's answer the first point first. Joe Ford, do you reckon the same on that? If you don't know where to set your free shipping threshold, just hedge a touch above your average order value?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great point. Yeah. I think just for like most of the time you see it with your casual retails where, you know, products vary between no more than say £100. Like it's about £50, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There or thereabouts. But yeah, obviously if your basket is high, then you can increase that threshold.
Yeah.
But it's whatever you're comfortable with, isn't it? Like there's no guaranteed answer, but I do like that answer of just above your average basket to try and raise it slightly.
Well, that's something we talk about as an agency all the time. Obviously, we were founded on Google Ads, and kind of that's the backbone of the company. You know, a lot of Google Ads accounts are all about ROAS, but ROAS is essentially, what is it? It's a measure of your AOV divided by your cost per click or your CPA.
Yeah. So
the bigger your AOV is going to be, the better your ROAS. And isn't that the whole game, just in improving the ROAS? Easy as that. What was the second bit, Joe? So the money you were going to spend on potentially for a bigger company on increasing your bids and trying to win more market share, that money might be better spent on something like trying to offer free shipping to more people and seeing the conversion rate go up instead.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, you know, when you think about what you've just said as well about kind of pushing AOV, you know, the other side of that is like your other way of increasing your ROAS is to bring your CPA down. And so if you do a bit of both, obviously you wouldn't try them both at once. There'd be too many things to track. But if you can get people to just convert that little bit better as well, CPA goes down, then, you know, your AOV can stay the same and you'll still make more money. So it's, the two things go hand in hand. And realistically, I think people only really consider one of them.
They do, don't they? Sad. It's wrong, actually. But that's why we're here, to hold the hands through it, I guess.
Yeah.
Do either of you give a monkeys about sustainable packaging?
To a point, yeah. I do get frustrated, but you know, you buy something off Amazon and they're like, I think it's probably them because the fulfillment centers are like so like breakneck. We've all heard the stories. Like you grab the box that's nearest to you. If it's a small item and you've only got big boxes, you just put it in a big box and you stuff it full of brown paper and those like, you know, the plastic like massive bubble wraps and stuff until the tiny little thing is held still, and then you ship it off. And you get there, you've got more stuff to throw in the bin than you have to like keep in your house, and that's a bit daft. But I think if it was ever down to sort of like delivery costs and in terms of like actual, you know, CO2 from vehicles, I know there's plenty of like bigger logistics companies and stuff now that are saying like we've already bought our last like combustion engine vehicle. It's just it's nice when they're doing it, but it's totally not on my radar yet in terms of like decisions.
The problem with it is that people don't, you know, myself included, they don't really care that much. Being environmentally friendly is great, but if it doesn't affect me for the better in the short term, I'm not going to really be that bothered. Am I going to wait an extra couple of weeks for environmentally free delivery or potentially delivery that comes in a sustainable package? Maybe it comes in an electric car. I don't know, just something that's better for the planet. But if it takes 2 weeks longer, am I going to do that? And look, I own an electric car. I'm quite, I like to think of myself as a bit of an environmentalist, but the everyday person just isn't going to do it when we live in this Amazon world of next day delivery and, you know, customers expecting it to be fast and free and all the rest of it. how are we going to get people to give up fast and free at the expense of it being sustainable? I don't know.
Individuals aren't going to change the world with regards to climate change, either. Like, you can do your bit as much as you want, but something needs to be done from the top, from the government. Like, it's not on the individual to drag us through this. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, in terms of like sustainable packaging and things like that, it's like a tertiary decision maker at best. Like, you've got your price, your speed, and then that's maybe a nice option if it's available. But
did you see, I don't know if you noticed on my last go on the BFBC mailer, which comes out on Wednesdays, and if you listen to this and you're not signed up, you should be signed up. Go and sign up right now. But I came across a couple of weeks ago a company called Olive.
Right,
yeah.
Did you see it or not?
I've read it at the time, but I can't remember. Fill us in. I've forgotten, obviously.
For the purpose of the podcast, it's a company that basically trying to consolidate a lot of the delivery that's happening in the e-commerce world.
Yeah, that was it.
And I thought it was really quite clever. So, let's fast forward 10 years. If everything according to Olive goes right, there'll be an Olive kind of distribution center in potentially every major city. And all your deliveries, when you order from MyProtein or ASOS or wherever else you buy everything from, they'll go to Olive. They'll go to that distribution center, and you'll get your delivery from everywhere you've bought online. You'll get your weekly delivery from Olive. And it might sound like it does no benefit, but what it does is like concentrates all of the delivery in one place, and it's going to reduce the amount of emissions happening and the amount of packaging potentially. And it'll just, when that happens over a global scale, the impact will be significant.
So do you collect from Olive?
You get your delivery from Olive, yeah.
What you could call an olive branch.
An olive branch. I think that's where I got the name from.
Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it?
But I don't think people will use it, to be honest. Yeah. I think it's there was a quote in the article I read which I really liked from the founder, which is a guy called Nate Faust. And he said, if you want to have an environmental impact, the benefit of the consumer can't be environmental impact. It has to be something other than that. It has to be, it's a bit faster, it's free, it's more convenient. And what he's trying to do is hit the more convenient option. Is it really more convenient to wait a week and get all of your online deliveries in one go? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I think there are some brands that are going for that. I think it's PG Tips at the minute are basically advertising that their tea bags are biodegradable, and most of them are made out of like fine mesh plastics or something, so that that doesn't work. And that's the total and short of the ad, is like, it's biodegradable, so now you have to buy it
from me. Yeah,
which is, if it's a tea bag and all I have to do is like reach to the left on the shelf and get the different brand, maybe I'll go for it. Like, I think it's Colgate are doing those toothbrushes that are made of bamboo now. And apart from that, it's exactly the same. So I've been buying those for a while. But again, it's like, I've got to move my hand 1 inch to the left. If it means waiting like several days, often if you're buying online, it's because you want it now. It's not, I'm doing those other things because there's no cost to me. But if you're gonna bring in that trade-off, then straight away people are going to struggle.
If you're asking people to jump through extra hoops, it's hard. And like, I'd go as far to disagree with where it says 64% of the respondents say they'd be more likely to purchase products or services from a company with a good reputation for environmental responsibility. I mean, that's surely only if it hits everything that we've come to expect already, like it being fast, like it being free, etc., etc.
Yeah, if there's literally nothing splitting the two other than that, then it could be a deciding factor. But how high up someone's priority list is that?
What's the thing with sustainable brands as well? They tend to be more expensive, don't they? Just because of the, it costs more to be more ethical. It's not burning fossil fuels. It's burning sunlight and, renewable stuff. But it's, I just think it's hard to do. I wish the consumer would care a bit more, but we've been spoiled. We're already too far gone.
I'd be interested to see like the breakdown of that by demographics and see how the different age ranges differ. Because I imagine that's a very like, millennial and younger sort of trend that's on the increase, whereas it feels like people of all the demographics probably have, less demand for more sustainable delivery packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this map here they've got on, and it all looks very interesting when you just glance at it. But if you look at the country breakdown, there's only 27% of people in the UK, but in Great Britain, that would actually do that. So, right off the bat there, it's like, like 1 in 4, just about, of people in the UK. It's obviously still something that's very much kind of coming on. And like, what, I'm sure that 2/3 of people in China would go for a reputation for environmental responsibility, when literally, like, have you seen the smog in China? Like, their idea of environmental responsibility is probably our right now. And I think as soon as you get to like a certain level of, we do have air that's nice to breathe and all the rest of it, and electric cars are on the up. I think a lot of people, then they're not going to take that extra sacrifice for them, because they'll look around them and they'll think like, it's happening on its own. I don't need to do this.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll shirk responsibility. What about, there's a section on unboxing. Now, I think this is an underused kind of tactic in e-commerce in general, but just making the unboxing experience really good, or just thinking about it beyond just sending your product in a brown cardboard box with a label on it and hoping it gets there.
Yeah.
The unboxing is the only, what is it? What's the quote? Unboxing is your only marketing method with 100% open rate. So act accordingly. Have you seen any companies that spring to mind in terms of unboxing?
I'll tell you what happened to me on Tuesday morning, right? I've just bought a new monitor. Like, gone quite expensive with it as well. Like, I'm doing it properly.
Yeah.
And then it turned up and the guy knocked at the door, and obviously, circumstances being as they are, obviously I was in the house. And I collected it off him, and literally it was just in the box. Like, no brown box, no shipping label, no nothing. It's obviously come out the back of this guy's, like, this courier's van. And it literally, it's a big box that very obviously has an expensive PC monitor inside of it. And if I'd not been in and it had been like, left to the side with a little note through the door or something like that, it would have been the most enticing thing for someone to nick on the way past in the world, because it is guaranteed to be expensive. And that for me was just like, am I sure I ever want to buy from these guys again? Like, as infrequent as that's going to be, but surely on a more expensive product like that, any repeat purchases have got to be, like gold dust for you anyway. Do you really want to put people off by making a mistake like that?
You'd want the discreet packaging on that option, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You'd expect it to go without saying. I was certainly blown away when it didn't happen.
Yeah. What was the packaging, the delivery around that aside though? What was the packaging like? What was opening the monitor like?
It was good, yeah.
Did it compare to Apple?
I don't buy from Apple, so I'm having to go on secondhand experience here. It was, I think in that sense, it wasn't on the level of Apple. It was, I guess from the environmental perspective, it was one of those where all of the kind of like padding around it, there was no polystyrene or anything like that. It was all kind of like that pulped up, like, paper that we use, where it's kind of like all the like the pressed like cardboard stuff. And I guess in that sense, that obviously made an effort there as a company to be a bit more like friendly to the planet. But it was very much, you open it up, like you've got your cables, like you take the top bit of like the cardboard off, and there's your monitor. It was box standard. It wasn't what Apple are doing.
Have you opened anything recently, Joe Foley, that you've enjoyed opening?
Yeah, so just within the last year, I've noticed that when shopping from smaller independent businesses, you do get a bit more of a personal touch. So because it's the person who's literally seeing the order come through, packaging it, sending it off, it's their business, they're probably a bit more inclined to write a little thank you note. I've seen some within the last year or so, just from like, my girlfriend does a lot more online shopping than I do, so it's more like her examples. But just that things where they like put a few sweets in the box. I saw she opened one today where you peel the sticker off the top of the box to open it, and within that, a friend had sent her something that had a note as you unpeel the sticker on the inside. So yeah, I saw a few sort of like little innovative things that people are doing just to try and make it feel a bit more personalised. To improve that experience. My
favourite ever one, and I've tried a lot of these brands. was, do you know what? I'm going to mention a couple actually, but when you buy from tails.com, your dog food subscription company, and there's another one called Butternut Box. It's like, it comes and it's a really bright, colourful box, and there's like slogans on it saying, dogs, do not eat this box. And like, obviously my dog fucking hates when the Amazon man comes, but he loves tearing into boxes. So he's destroying this butternut box, and it in big letters says, dogs, do not eat the box. And obviously, because we live in 2021, I've taken a photo of it and put it on Instagram, but that got reposted by Butternut Box itself. And suddenly, just because there's a bit of thought gone into the box, they've got a bit more exposure potentially to me, and all my friends who have dogs might have seen me put that on my Instagram story, and there's a bit more reach there. So there's potentially free eyeballs just because they were quite clever with the packaging. So I thought that was brilliant. But then also what Tails do really well, which are another dog food company. My dog's a dead fussy eater, by the way, hence why I've tried pretty much everyone on the planet. They put like free gifts in with the food. Mm-hmm. So like, it's just, you get your 8 or so like tins of dog food, but then 1 month they sent a collapsible bowl, like a traveling water bowl. 1 month they sent a little bandana for the dog, just a daft thing that went around his neck. And that was like, it was something additional to what I expected on the purchase. Like, I had no idea I was getting that gift. So when I opened it, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And that was potentially worth more. That feeling of the surprise and the delight I got from that, to give that marketing slogan to it, that was probably worth more than the cost of that bandana or that collapsible bowl. Because now I think of Tails all the time when I just think of dog food. So there's 2 examples from the pet industry for me.
I think it's interesting that you've gone with like subscription boxes as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's very easy with something like that. I mean, let's look at anything else that you pay for in installments. Like, I don't get excited when my phone bill comes out, because it's like, you don't remember suddenly how good your phone is, do you? Like, it's probably the thing you read the email on saying that they've just taken another 50 quid off you.
Yeah,
they've got to keep that, like, especially with something as commoditized as like dog food. Mm-hmm. They've got to make it exciting. They've got to remember like why you bought from them, and make sure that it is still, there's that like perception of value that makes you've almost got to kind of like re-win people every single time, mm-hmm. in some small respect, to be able to then go and expect them to keep subscribing again. The only subscription that I've ever sort of cancelled in recent memory, the packaging was dead plain. You got your 3 things inside of it, and then it just came in like the yellow and red DHL box, and it was all like bubble wrapped up. Mm-hmm. And there was absolutely no sense of occasion. It was like, I'm about to run out, and now I'm not about to run out. But unless I was 100% bought into the product, mm-hmm. Missed the mark, and I did end up cancelling.
Dear me. What do we think then? The other thing on the report, the last thing was about returns for me on this pitch. So were you shocked to see that the value of e-commerce items returned in the US in 2023 is estimated to be $348 billion?
Not in the slightest.
No.
Nah.
Sounds a lot to me.
Yeah, but if you look at the growth, especially by the time they're expecting, obviously, growth in e-commerce, so the returns have got to go with that. That's the only way, really. Then, how many people do we know that buy multiple variants of something, be it sizes or colours, with every intention of returning a bunch of it?
Do you think we should, as a sector, as e-commerce marketers even, we should be trying to mitigate against returns? And even if we go back to the environmental impact for that reason as well?
I think
go on, Joe.
It's probably like an uplift as well. It's just, obviously, returns windows were extended so much, weren't they?
Yeah.
So people have that opportunity to return it a lot more, whereas before you might have forgot about it for a couple of weeks, and then if it's a 14-day policy, you've overstepped it, or if it's 28 days, you're thereabouts. Whereas that extended window probably gives people a bit more time to see how that product might be used in their day-to-day lives, and if they really don't see much value out of it, they've got that opportunity to send it back, whereas that wasn't available before. So that's probably had an impact on that increase in returns as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see the data on it, but I bet the biggest reason for returns, well, especially in fashion, is going to be size, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
The best example I've seen for this is it Hyatt jeans or Hyatt denim? They do they show you how to measure your favorite pair of jeans in various different ways. So they do you one across the hem, one across the thigh, one around the waistband, and they say what measurement on the tape measure, like a flat measure, is equivalent to in terms of the actual size of the jean. So whether you need a 32 waist or a 34 or a 30 or whatever, because obviously a lot of different brands of jeans fit you slightly differently and some make them a little bit bigger than others. I thought that was really cool. So for the fashion retailers especially, I think more care over the size would be good. Just to, Joe Robbo, as you were saying, like hopefully stop those people from ordering 3 of the same product and sending the 2 back that don't fit them, because that's pretty wasteful and it's definitely not good for the planet, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think returns are an interesting thing because it's hassle for the consumer, it's cost and hassle for the manufacturer. There's that environmental impact. It's probably the one thing where it's in everybody's best interest to minimize it. And I think ASOS are doing a fairly good job where you put all your sizes in and you kind of like explain your build and stuff. And then you tell them, what they'll often say, what sizes do you already take in brands that you've already bought from, and try to get, and they're trying to do the same thing that like Hyatt are doing, but without getting you to measure your clothes. They're trying to just sort of wing it a little bit. Yeah. And I suppose the irony there is that obviously the more the returns go down, they're going to have less and less data from which to do that. So that'll be an interesting challenge, but it's nice to see people trying. And if that's purely because it's mutually beneficial, it's fine by me.
Tell you what, though, I don't think, a lot of retailers especially will buy into trying to reduce the amount of returns you get unless they're super bought into the environmental mission, because that's going to be one of the reasons why someone actually might buy, isn't it? Like if you're looking at a few pairs of jeans and you're weighing up a few options from a few different retailers, price is about the same, delivery time is about the same. If the returns policy is worse on one pair versus another, you're potentially not going to go for that retailer, and they're going to lose out on sales because of that. So I think we're in a real sticky spot with returns, actually, and I don't know how it's going to play out.
It's almost like, what's that Richard Branson quote, man? Like, train your staff well enough that they could go anywhere they wanted, but treat them well enough that they never want to leave.
Yeah.
You almost have to do that with your clothing. It's like, give them such a great returns policy that they trust it 100%, but also deliver such a great product that they never actually send it back. And yeah, especially when it comes to sizing, people are different shapes. That is easier said than done.
Better size guides then.
Yeah, I think it's what everyone seems to be trying. You know what? Maybe, ironically, given the conversation we've just had, augmented reality might eventually play a role, but not just yet. Not for a long time in my book.
Not for a long time. No way. Anything else on this this fulfillment part of the report, or is that us for now, do you think?
I think that's about it. Yeah, it's, I think the bottom line, isn't it, really, is that a lot of people have had to up their game in 2020 to survive. And, like we've already said about various other parts of that is consumers' new normal. They will not go backwards. And so, yeah, really, if you've managed to survive this year, the question now is, how do you bring all your staff back and reopen your doors and maintain the click and collect or whatever it is, because they're gonna keep wanting it.
Nice one. Any words of wisdom, Joe Foley, or are we going to let the listeners leave?
I'll let the listeners leave. I think they've heard enough.
Right. Cheers for that, lads.